What is going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe. Hiya, hiya, hiya. So, we've covered some newer missions and problematic missions a couple of videos ago. Last mission we talked about basically the existence of Eidolon hunting and where it kind of stands right now. Now we're going to talk about basically what has become the best level cap mission. Now, disruptions used to be kind of the way to go. Okay, they really were. Survivals years ago, when life support drops were really easy and, enemies scaled up pretty fucking quickly. They've since balanced out survivals to where the life support pods don't drop near as much, or the life support drops don't drop near as much. And the enemy leveling has scaled way down, so they don't climb and level near as much. So survivals have been dead for a minute. Disruption for basically as many enemies as you could fucking kill, the next wave of enemies coming would be ranked up a little bit higher. But the one that really hits home is Void Cascade. Now, Void Cascade is an absolute barrel of insanity. Okay? Where is that motherfucker? I always get it fucked up. Nope, that's Void Flood. Twofold Common. There we go. So the Void Cascade, and we're going to play just, a quick round. But the Void Cascade is a very interesting mission. Now, there is a lot of ways to do it, and what I'm going to show you is not necessarily the best way to go about it. But we are going to use one Incarnate weapon specifically. Okay. Personally, I would recommend two. But you don't even need the Incarnate weapon per se, but boy, does it fucking help, especially once you start getting in like level 5,000 range. It is definitely a helper. Now you can run one of two setups. You can run a Nourish setup or you can run a Roar setup. Specifically, I would recommend a Roar setup. Primary reason behind that is because Roar basically acts like basically a faction-specific mod. So it basically deals direct, increased damage towards that faction instead of just being, well, here, it's whatever your modded shit is. It's kind of like acting like a Bane mod, for lack of a better way to put it. So Roar is a really good idea. This particular build absolutely does a job. Shotgun amp is kind of whatever. You put whatever fucking aura in this motherfucker you want to. Pretty much anything that is going to work to your advantage is going to be a good thing. So like in the case of, I'm going to be running the Tenet Galaxian, primarily, we'll run rifle amp instead. Okay, I usually run shotgun because there's a whole different setup for that particular thing. Now the Tenet Galaxian, this is where something, like you can see I have a Riven on this thing. It's okay. It's not amazing. But I do have a Riven. Now the problem is with the build that I have, putting a Bane on here won't necessarily work because of the polarizations that I'm running. But this, I would highly recommend, if you're going to do this, I would do Bane of Grineer. Okay? I would absolutely do Bane of Grineer. Not even a fucking question, because coupling with Roar and a Bane mod, it is going to be a good fucking time. Pretty much everything else about the build is going to do you just fine. Okay? Now, the Incarnate Furus. Now, again, I do have a Riven, and this is where this Riven actually does have a negative, because most of the time you're going to be going up against, excuse me, you're going to be going up against Grineer. So this is where this one actually does start to become a little bit of a problem. That isn't even what I was trying to do, stupid. Yeah, so basically, you're going to ditch this motherfucker, put this motherfucker over here, and then you're going to come over here and say, wunderbar, I want... this. I mean, technically you could do like Expel Grineer, okay? Because this thing's going to be doing heat anyway, so you could do like Primed Expel Grineer instead. Because again, if you're talking about level cap, you don't want to be taking negatives to the faction that you're going to potentially be fighting on this, or will be fighting. And then the Glaive, funny enough, the electricity build actually does work pretty damn good at higher levels. So basically just a melee influence with some galvanized mods, a corrupted mod, obviously the lovely Thermia Fracture, fucking Amalgam Organ Shatter, but that also does help you with heavy attack wind-up speed, as well as Killing Blow with damage and wind-up speed, so on and so forth, and then a little bit more swing, or a little bit more distance for your Glaive to fly. Pretty simple. 3 Forma. Have a nice day. the whole thing is, though, is basically the more you kill, the quicker this shit's going to go up. Average time frame that I usually see when people are really hardcore in a squad is basically about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and boy, did I just hit the wrong shit. About an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're going to be at level cap. As long as you are killing constantly, okay? Like, basically, one person guarding the Exalizer, everybody else killing everything human, you know, everything on the fucking map. Because you just want to absolutely annihilate enemies.
Rainier meddling with the reliquary drive has triggered a Void Cascade.
I know it's triggered a Void Cascade.
So they can stop the cascade getting out of
So, I mean, the base idea, and I'm not really going to be all competitive about this, cool, is you take out these little things, and then you just take that little bastard out. Man, if my aim was any better.
Got their attention. Enemy forces moving to your location.
Bruh, my aim sucks. Hey, would you stop it? Thank you. Now. So I want him back over here.
Contamination subsided.
Now, if you hit roar, it's like something like Tenet Glaxian. At this level, it works just fine and dandy. Now, with a Bane, it's even better. Oh, look, I lost my Mesmer skin there. I wasn't paying attention. There's a reason why rolling guard's on here. Because, yeah, you get shot at a lot. You roll, cast Mesmer skin, and just keep going. Now, as the levels get higher, luckily, the punch that these guys gives isn't any better or worse, per se. You, sir, just die.
Manifesting more nightmares.
They like take your Mesmer skin down, you just keep roar going, and everything just pretty much fucking dies. Now, again, you gotta understand that this is, you know, just me fucking around doing this solo. This is not me really making a big deal of this. Like, hi, bud. And the thing is like the less Exalizers, or the less you keep the Exalizer under control, the more wild the missions start getting. And yes, you will eventually have to start running multiple Exalizers to keep the fucking mission from getting out of control. This is very much like a life support. I'm shooting guys outside of the bubble because I'm an idiot. You're a smart ass. Like, as you can see, having a couple of corrosive shards on Revenant with a corrosive build works really fucking well. Yeah, I mean, like, this seems like, okay, cool, I just run around in circles. This starts getting very, very fucking active. And yes, your operator will get very weak, and you will get into a position that, you will start questioning your life and your sanity as to why the hell you're doing what you're doing. The shit does get very fun now. Excuse me, stop it. Oh, see, I see you. Oh, I missed one. That's why. See, and then this dickhead shows up because he wants to be a fun guy. Really hope if I actually had roar on, wouldn't it? Be like, nah, he gonna die. Bye-bye, ghost boy. I mean, it's like I said, the whole goal is to just literally kill everything inside of the big gold dome. And yes, it will slow down your progress when you're in a squad and people are killing outside of the dome, but those other people can also start other exolizers and kind of babysit them as well, and you will really, really, really progress the mission fast. Which is kind of the name of the game. That's what you want to do. Fast progression, make the level go up much quicker. Do you like the Furious? As you've seen, I haven't even run it that much. This is where it comes in handy on that guy. Wow, didn't charge all the way. Alright. And then acolytes are going to show up, which is good, because, you know, I mean, we talked about, you know, acolyte farming. It's another good acolyte farm. It's just much more chaotic.
Exolizer spent.
Misery, fuck right off, okay? Just be gone. You got time for your bullshit. Now, as you progress, these little void things will start moving the fuck about and really make you hate things. Bitch, that's for literally setting that damn thing up right there. You may fuck right off. Did I not kill you? See, that quick little void dash gives you lockdown enemies that basically are hit with tether knives for 4 seconds. So it gives you a moment of serenity to try to do your fucking job. Again, this is no incarnate, this is just doing what you need to do. Now, the weapon of preferential choice I would highly recommend. Where the fuck are you at? The highest of preferential weapon that I would possibly recommend putting in here would definitely be the Torrid. The Torrid Incarnate. Without question, it will absolutely mow enemies down insanely fast.
Cascade intensified. Our enemy has abandoned valuable supplies. This is yours now.
So, when he gives you that voice line, that is the end of one rotation.
Void contamination critical. Do these invaders have any
So,
idea what
4
demons they
exolizers
invoked
equals
upon us
1
all?
rotation. Now, that seems chaotic, it seems nuts. As long as you've got a squad you can trust, or at least somebody that you can talk to, so like if you're in a Discord, it's a lot of fun. And as you see, I just got 3 fucking arcanes because 2 of them well, okay, one of them came from the rotation drop, one of them came from a Thrax. And then the secondary dexterity came from the Acolyte. I can tell you that if you are down for a fun and at times a little challenging higher tier gameplay, it is a good time. Now, what I would recommend in lieu of, honestly, I don't even know why the hell I just left the Chrysalith. What I would recommend in lieu of is you can use the Fenmore. Fenmore works. Getting it charged up for its headshots is a little bit interesting because it's a little slow. Guns. No, not arsenal. God damn it. It's the wrong shit. Cavalero.
I watch you on the scope sometimes, you know.
I know.
Some of those moves.
Incarnates.
Here's a few pieces I put together in my own. Admire.
That's not the one I was looking at. Here we go.
Feeling creative?
Something that works exceptionally fucking well, okay, is, for example, because yes, you can see I have every one of the incarnates. The Fenmore does work, okay? Fenmore, and it's one that you can just buy from Cavallero with standings. The Torrid, hands down, is your best option, but that also requires going through the Steel Path, circuit, and some people are just not quite ready for that yet. Because the truth of it is like something like the Steel Path circuit, you really want to have a lot of your builds lined out and ready to go before you start going after that, because it can get a little tricky. But you do have the Fenmore, and you do have the Felarx. Now, the Felarx incarnate side is actually pretty damn powerful, but it is very slow. So the truth of it is that if you're going to go for any base incarnates without having to touch the circuit, and you want to do something like Void Cascade, so you can do some long duration run stuff at level cap, Fenmore is probably going to be your best way to go. And in the same level of the Latum. Okay, without question, the Latum. The Latum charges very fast. It has a very damaging and devastating fucking output damage. And it has an AoE that is just... It's very, very proven. Do you even need the Glaive Prime? No. You can actually get by with something as simple as the Praetos or the Enidem. These are also... All of these weapons that I've highlighted, minus the Torrid, are all available with standing purchases. The Enidem is very good because it basically goes from a dagger into a sword, and then the Praetos is just a solid fucking set of tonfas. And they are incarnate weapons. The evolutions are not horribly difficult to do, and they are standing base only. So that just basically means you need to farm some Void Plumes. So basically you do the Angels of the Zeraman and come in here and worry about basically the Fenmore, the Latum, and the Enidem and the Praetos, and then figure out which one of those work for you the best.
Stay sharp.
Now, the reason that I say the Torrid, aside from the obvious of I'm sure everybody out there showcases the piss out of the Torrid for what it is, because it is a chaining weapon. Hence why I brought the Tenet Glaxian. That's also hence going to be why we're going to do the next video that I'm going to do. But it's a chaining weapon that affects multiple enemies, and if you build it properly towards your faction, specifically the Grineer, you're going to be coming through and dealing with, as you've done your Archons, that, like in the video that I showed, you can start, using like a blue and a yellow, and you make a couple of corrosive shards and start armor stripping with a corrosive build on the Glaxian. Makes killing these fuckers a hell of a lot easier. Yeah. So like, and like I could have just put the Latum on here. Okay. Now I do have two separate Latums with two separate Rivens. Okay, I have a negative crit setup, which works just fine and fucking dandy. Really does. It's a pretty devastating little setup, and it's a different evolution than the other. Okay, so this is a negative crit with kind of meh stats. Okay, like the plus impact it's whatever. But this works perfectly fine. Okay, it really does. Works perfectly fine. Or I could do my crit build, which, yeah, it seems weird, because one of the big perks for the Latum is having a negative crit actually gives you potential for boosted damage. And this one is critical chance, status chance, and base damage. The base damage doesn't really scale that well, but the other two stats work just fine. And what I'm talking about is using something like this. On a hit that neither does crit or status effect, 400% damage. That's a big what if with this particular build, because this particular build is a 75% crit on its own. So it's got a pretty high probability of hitting a crit. It's just you have to pick one. On the no crit one, there's a couple of options that you can go with here. Okay. You can go with this bad boy. So 50% chance to deal 2,000% damage on no crits. It's because I've got a negative crit Riven. And then, that one's meh, whatever. And then you've got that motherfucker there, which does work again with low, as long as you don't build anything in a crit, that actually gives you a really good possibility for some damage output. So, yeah, I mean, either one of those perks works really good with if you're not building towards the crit. But, like, if you don't want to fuck about with any other weapons, I mean, there's options. There really is, but the Glaxian, the Latum, on a no crit build, and then whatever your prime choice of melee, it's going to really do some damage output. You can carry yourself into the 5,000 range of level easy. Revenant's a great frame. Nezha's a great frame. They're both very, very highly survivable. Probably two of the best, in my opinion, for that particular gameplay. I'm sure there will be somebody to argue that point, and I'm not saying that they're the only two frames to do it with. There's definitely many others. They're just my particular preferences for high survivability. Just saying. So that is, if you want to go play at level cap, think about at least Cavaliero's options for Incarnate weapons, because building them is not that hard, and you basically build to the evolution perks, and you will have some devastating output damage if you build it correctly. So, folks, thanks very much. As always, we'll catch you next one, all right?